Brooklyn Nets general manager Sean Marks did not hold back when discussing the future of the team. This coming off the heels of the Brooklyn Nets getting swept in the NBA playoffs by the Boston Celtics. This season did not go how many Nets fans wanted it to go at all. Of course, Kyrie Irving missed a large part of the season. He was unable to play because of those vaccine issues. There were other issues with the team, with James Harden demanding a trade and being injured and all that stuff. And then KD, of course, a lot of people at the end of the day were really putting their foot on KD's throat, saying that he should have played a bigger role or a larger role in the end when it came down to the NBA playoffs. So there's a lot of blame, obviously, to go around with the Nets. But Sean Marks, general manager of the Nets, in his first public comments since the Nets were swept, kind of let us know what that future might be and why Kyrie Irving might not be a part of it. Here's what he said in his first public comments on Wednesday since the playoff loss. He said, quote, "We need people here that want to be here." He went on to say, "They're selfless, that they want to be a part of something bigger than themselves. And there's an objective and there's a goal at stake here. And in order to do that, we're going to need availability from everyone." Now, it's easy to think that this is not about Kyrie Irving, right? That there might be people out there who are like, well, there were players who were injured. There were players who couldn't play. Sean Marks making a public statement about this, I promise you, has nothing to do, little to do, at maximum, about any player on that team that's not Kyrie Irving. Or James Harden. He could very well have been talking about James Harden because, look, that James Harden fiasco, it really did throw a monkey wrench into their, not just short-term plans of trying to win the title, but their long-term plans as well. Because they did give up a good amount to get James Harden. So, we had that. But for him to still be talking about this, we cannot ignore that Kyrie's availability or lack thereof throughout the season was not an issue. There are going to be people who downplay it. There are going to be people who try to justify it. And here's the thing. There's a difference between those two, right? You can justify it and say that Kyrie Irving has the right to do what he wants with his own body. And he does. He point blank does. But to go out there and say that him not being there didn't impact the game, or him not being there shouldn't impact the way people view him, or the way that the Nets should factor him into their plans or not factor him into their plans. That is a very, very, very nonsensical argument. Be quite frank with you guys. The Kyrie Irving not being there is the largest factor in all of this going wrong this year. 100%. We can say that, oh, well, the bench didn't show up in key moments. Bench players played pretty good in the playoffs. Do they need more? Yeah. Do they need to build out the depth on that team? Yeah. Do they possibly need a third star? Maybe. But to say that Kyrie Irving not being there had no effect on the team, had no effect on team chemistry, had no effect on their chances of not just competing for the playoffs, but seeding. They were a 7 seed, folks. They had to play in a play-in tournament to get to their to eventually play the Boston Celtics. That factored into it. They got they got the worst matchup they possibly could in the first round. They could have avoided it. It could have been avoided through multiple reasons, through multiple ways. And I think that this is indication from Sean Marks saying that, look, it was his decision. That's fine. We lived with it. That doesn't mean that we are going to continue to live with it. Because this isn't just a one scenario thing with Kyrie Irving. This isn't the first time it's happened. Kyrie Irving has been unavailable throughout his career in in Brooklyn, I should say. They have not been able, for whatever reason, to get all of the key players on this team on the same page, on the same court at the same time. It has never happened. And for that reason, anyone who wants to say, like, oh, we still got years, we still got this, we still got that, the NBA moves quick, folks. We've seen it. James Harden went from potentially playing on a team that people thought was going to be on the championship, winning the championship, to being a 76er. Sorry, he went from being on a team that people thought were going to win a championship in the Nets to being injured to being a 76er, all in a matter of like a month. So what's to say that Kyrie Irving won't be traded? Nothing. It's the NBA. It's sports in 2022. This is how things are. And the Nets, if they want to get serious, about winning a title, because make no bones about it, it has been a failure in Brooklyn. It has been an utter failure. This whole operation, everything has been a failure. That's not cap. That's a real take. You can take it to the bank, too. It's been a failure because they haven't even sniffed the NBA Finals. Not even gotten close. People could say what they want about LeBron's tenure with the Lakers and how badly it's going right now. At the end of the day, say what you want about, the bubble. Say what you want about the atmosphere. They won a title. They won a title playing in the same environment that everybody else was playing, because apparently everyone forgets that, right? They are playing in the same environment that everybody else was playing in, against the same teams who were all under the same exact circumstances, and they came out on top. Everything after that, yeah, you can say that's been a failure, but at least they got that title, so it wasn't a complete failure. The Brooklyn Nets came together to win multiple titles. They've barely gotten multiple playoff wins, folks. We got to get real about it. And who knows? I don't know what the deal would be. I don't know what you do, but I'd imagine that Sean Marks and the Nets are looking at all options, because they invested a lot of time, a lot of money into putting this team together. They traded away a lot of key pieces from a team that was a playoff team before Kyrie Irving and KD got there. So they're looking at all options. They have to be. At this point, they have to be, because right now, it's whatever reason. It's multiple reasons. It's not just one, but it's just not working. But let me know what you guys think in the comment section. Hit that like button, subscribe, hit that notification bell so you get notified whenever a new video is released.